Too early.
Banana, na na na.
Nailed it.
My ESPN.
All right. Welcome to Educated Guesses Week 14 recap. It is just finished the divisional round of the playoffs, heading into the championship round. Exciting times for those who are in it. Let me double check one thing. I think I got the right link out there.
Banana, na na na.
The right link, okay. So let's get to it. Here we go. As expected, I guess not as expected. None of these really went as expected, besides maybe Nick over Will. I guess what were your thoughts on these four matchups we had?
I was surprised that Miami almost put up 400. So give the man some credit, especially with Antonio Brown scoring like 9 points.
Yeah.
I think that's a big win for Brad. Putting down New England Mark, guy who's lost one game this season, I think.
I think they both had lost one.
Okay. Well, New England was, I think, the crowd favorite going in.
Not by me.
Not by you, of course. But Brad just roundhousing him in the playoffs. The only other one I was really surprised about was I was surprised on how I froze. My back. There we go.
There.
How close the Cleveland Indy game was for a while. Like it was, Kyle was just waiting for those cornerback points to come in. Well, and then the guy goes off. So
yeah, I think Kyle probably lost like a year off his life.
I'm sure he had some heart palpitations there.
Because like going into the Sunday night game, I figured Kyle would have blew him out by 50, 60, 70 points because he had Goff, Donald, Cook, and Khalil Mack. I think they got him combined like 20 points.
Yeah. Oh, Goff was terrible.
Goff was actually a deficit. I think I still have it pulled up here. Yeah, Goff negative 0.1, Cook's 5.7, Donald 5, and Khalil Mack 17.5. That's not bad. But yeah, so like 29 points between all of them, which all of those guys are capable of 29 points. So yeah, he was sweating it going into that final game, but then Griffin came through with, I think, season high 20 points. Nope, he had a 27 point earlier. But that was a tough 2-pick game, so. But yeah, that was a bold move because he's only had like one double-digit game since week 2. So that was a good call, but tough call to make.
Yeah.
So obviously Cleveland beat Indy. I guess technically that'd be an upset, depending on who you ask. But record-wise and standing-wise, yeah, that would be an upset.
I think most people thought Indy was going to. I guess we didn't take a poll, so I guess I don't even know what I think there was one on Slack. I thought I saw.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of scrolling to find that.
I saw it, though. Come back to me.
All right. Well, Kyle took the win there. Like we mentioned earlier, kind of the meeting of the Giants in the AFC.
Never mind, it's not up there.
Mark put up 353 and Brad put up 396. So he had him by a fair margin, but it was, I guess I don't know if it was back and forth, but it was fairly close throughout the week or throughout the Sunday games. There was 2 people on Mark's team that really hurt him. Gurley obviously only getting 14 points, and then Zach Brown getting 3.5.
That hurts. I think Gurley hurts the most. I don't think anyone was really expecting that out of Gurley.
Yeah. He had some other
Take a quick timeout. We just gotta celebrate the people that are on Slack plus watching us live. Nate, this is probably the only time you're ever going to get a kudos from us. Congrats. You're on Slack. You're with us. Kyle, welcome. We're excited to have Green Dot University watching our show.
Whoop, whoop.
Thank you. Anyway, let's go back to our topic. I just had to get that out of the way.
Yeah, so I picked Brad to take out Mark. You did not, but I just pictured he had I think he had just had a bit more well-rounded roster to prevent things or survive things like the Gurley deal. And then same with Kyle, to survive the Rams shit show and still get a win. Granted, to be fair, 296 wouldn't have beat any other team that was in that situation. I take that back. It would have beaten New York. I should say it wouldn't have beaten anybody else who won. But I guess he would have beaten 3 teams. So, anyways, going over to the NFC, D. Jordan didn't make it past Brian. He also got bit by the Gurley bug. Not sure if he had anybody else that shit the bed. I don't think anybody jumped out to me. Oh, starting 2 Detroit wide receivers is
it's tough.
Tough one.
Galladay is a guy, but that whole offense has been horrible the past few weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of those guys can be trusted.
It's tough being in the divisional round starting Bruce Ellington. Sorry, D. Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some okay options on his bench, but man, to be doubling down on the Detroit passing game versus Arizona.
I feel like in playoffs, you got to kind of spread out the love.
Yeah, but he had decent options in Nelson Aguilar and Robbie Anderson. Not that Nelson Aguilar did much better, but Robbie put up a touchdown at least.
Yeah,
that's tough.
That's to even go with as well. I mean, someone's got to get the ball, I suppose.
I mean, Jets or Lions? I don't know which one you go for.
Lions.
Well, damn, this defense, though. Whew. Deion Jones had a, below average game of 16.5, but 27 by Jared Davis, 34 by Darius Leonard, 24 by Anthony Walker, 18 by Trey Flowers, 14 by Janoris Jenkins, 12 by Rashad Jones is kind of a low one, 15 by Tyrann Matthews. Woo. Joe Casey putting up 27. That defense. Anyways, sorry, Jordan, you lost, but
tough.
Gurley hurt you. And it would have been tough for him to make up that difference, but if you got 1 or 2 more options on offense, your defense is there, man. Hopefully you got some picks. I don't remember. And then
I don't know, actually. I don't know. He did get some picks exchanged back.
Yeah.
But yeah, our final game was Chicago and Seattle, which will start off hot playing Henry. I think we're all surprised by that.
So I just saw today that Henry had 24 snaps in that game. He scored on 6 of his 24 snaps. Or sorry, he scored on 4 of his 24 snaps, not 6. That would have been bananas.
What? Yeah. I think we're all secretly rooting for Will. But in the end, Nick just proved to be too strong once again. Even with Tyreek being semi-hurt, hurt. Not sure what's going on with him. I need to investigate that one more.
Apparently, I heard yesterday that it was he said it's worse than we originally thought, and then he was at practice today. So I don't know what's going on.
He's soft.
AP didn't work out well for him. Yeah, he just
dominated.
Yeah, they got ravaged. Yeah, he just had a lot of subpar performances. Mark Barron, single digits. Griffin, single digits. Calais Campbell, single digits. Forrest Buckner, single digits. AP, Tyler Boyd, single digits.
Tough week. Can't have that in the playoffs.
But Nick's looking strong.
Yeah.
He had a couple poor performances by a couple guys. Donald will bounce back. He had a cornerback die or not do anything. Fournette putting up 12 is maybe standard now. I don't know what the fuck is going on in Jacksonville.
Wasn't there like news that he threatened a fan after the game?
Yeah, he's like, I think he's threatened to kick their ass or something. I don't know what he said.
Yeah. But Fournette, you gotta be smarter. I do want to point this out to you, Spencer. I don't know if you know this fact, but at least for the last 2 weeks, and we could go back further than this, and I think the trend would still be there. But you got to be concerned about Cook's production. He only gets 11 points week 13. He gets 5.7 week 14. And 20.1, 14. I mean, that's better than 5, right? You got it.
I'm not sure what you're saying, but
I think you got to be
Robert Williams did better.
Oh, yeah. He put up 14 points this week and 22 last week. So he essentially doubled Cook's production, showing that he is clearly the number one wide receiver there. Cooks is mainly a distraction. So I think Kyle's got to be sweating that one a little bit coming into the playoffs.
I can see that. So that was last week. Going over our picks, I picked Kyle over Eric, correct. Brad over Mark, correct. Brian over D. Jordan, correct. Nick over Will, correct. What'd you pick?
Wow, congrats. You picked all of the favorites.
Did I, though?
Slow clap.
I picked the number one seed to lose and the 2 seed to lose.
Because Kyle's our boy. He's a supporter of the show, so I picked him. And fuck Eric. I picked Brian over DJ, even though DJ's our boy. I was concerned with who DJ was going to be starting. I picked Nick. I did pick Mark or Brad, which I think I was going for the upset. I had to be different than you. I couldn't pick the same because yours were easy picks.
Again, you just said that you thought Mark had a better team.
I thought that's what the crowd would say. That's what the general consensus would be.
I think we have the answer.
Maybe that's just what I think.
How'd that go?
I can't remember. I don't have those stats in front of me to say who people were picking.
Just saying. So throughout the playoffs, 7-1. Fuck you, Barry. You're my only mistake. And Nathan's 4-4, and Travis is tied with Nathan, all at 0-0. So Nathan's today's your shot to pass up Travis.
I gotta break that 500. Good plus or minus that I beat Travis.
Yeah, I guess if you split him, though, you're still going to be tied with him, and he can come in and pick the correct Super Bowl winner and beat you 1-0. But anyway, so those are our picks for next week. I guess
didn't pick it.
That was our last week's picks.
Pay attention.
Sorry, man.
This is why we script things.
Script things in very, very small notes that we do 10 minutes before the show. My week 15 picks are, I struggled with this one, but he hasn't proved me wrong yet. So I'm going Kyle over Brad in an upset. I think things are going to come together.
Upset.
And I'll get into it after I hear your pick. And then I picked Nick over Brian just because that sounds fun.
All right. I picked Brad over Kyle because I want Kyle to be the Cinderella story. I want him to prove me wrong and be the...
Didn't you pick him to lose the first time?
Yeah. Because
you picked him to win?
Because he's a cheap ass. And then I picked Nick over Brian. I think just Nick's got a stronger team. Plus, I don't know if we could all go a year of hearing Brian as the NFC champ I think that's punishment enough that he's made it this far.
Yeah.
So
here's my storyline for everybody who doesn't want Kyle to represent the AFC. If Kyle goes through the last year's Super Bowl champ, the 2016 Super Bowl champ, upsets possibly the best team in the AFC, and then goes to the Super Bowl, and he's just riding high going to the Super Bowl, and then just gets crushed by whoever's in the NFC, I think that'd make for a very entertaining next 6 months or 7, 8 months. I don't even know how long the offseason is. Not that I want that to happen, Kyle, but it would be pretty funny.
Kyle will then be slowly drowning himself in that Vegas pool.
No,
while whispering, Green Dye University.
He'll be living large if he takes the AFC.
He won't be making anybody margaritas if he takes the AFC.
Oh, that's true. Then I don't want him to win because I want some of those margaritas. I'll get some margaritas for all these picks. If I picked him 3 times in a row and he wins 3 times in a row, that's at least a couple margaritas.
Oh, but he won't make them unless you go out with him. Unless you go to the tiki bar. If you don't go to the tiki bar, you ain't getting no margaritas, Spencer.
I'll just tell him I'll go to the tiki bar and then not go. I'll have enough margaritas by then.
He's so pissed.
I can't tell if he's like on delay or something, or if he's pumped that I picked him, or pumped that I picked him to win and then hopefully lose him in the Super Bowl.
I think he's just pumped.
Just pumped in general.
He loves being here. He just loves the game.
Just living it up.
Hey, can I ask a quick question? Just an observational question.
That's what we're here for.
I'm wondering why, at the beginning of the season, when we started the show, you had 2 jerseys on your wall.
Dude, Butler keeps falling. He's right there, like laying behind the couch. The hook keeps falling down, man.
That he's just fallen and that you haven't just removed his legacy from your life.
That's why it's turned around the other way. She's like, man, I don't remember who 23 was, but it's a cool jersey. My Towns jersey is in the mail, apparently. I ordered it like a fucking month ago. Yeah, buddy. Purple Rain. Yeah.
I love it. I want one of those.
It's fucking awesome. I do want like a normal blue one. I'm just, for some reason, really into basketball jerseys and not as much into football ones, but don't know who to get. Might get that Rocco one. Home blue. But anyways, Robert Covington?
Bennington Cumberbatch? I don't know.
No. Our Lord Savior, Robert Covington?
Nope.
Just Google, I think it's Jesus Christ, Lord Covington. There's some really funny photoshops of him as Jesus.
Okay.
Anyways, somebody out there will get it.
Well, I mean, the last time we actually talked about a sport other than football was Yoenis Cespedes. And I think Detroit Lion about shit his pants that night.
I think it was a different Detroit back then. That was a long time ago.
Detroit Tigers?
No, a different Detroit franchise in the NFL.
No, it was Brian. He was not. Was he Detroit?
Wait, what are you talking about?
It was during one of our first shows, and we were talking about Yoenis. We were talking about beating Yoenis. Mm-hmm. That Yoenis was just smacking that ball. And I'm fairly certain that it was Dallas Bryan who was blowing up, at the time, MFL chat.
Oh, okay. I got you. I misheard you. Yeah. Well, it's been a while since we had Yoenis talk. But pretty sure he's still around. I don't really follow baseball much, but we digress.
Okay. Cool.
Was there something else you wanted to cover on Yoenis?
No. I think Yoenis has been covered quite a bit.
Good. It's for the best. One topic that I wanted to get some feedback from the viewers on is...
How many viewers do we have, first of all?
We just dropped to 3. We were at 4. I'll take 4 this time of year.
Whoever's the 4th person that dropped out, shame on you. Shame.
Usually we're about double that during the regular season, but we'll take what we can get this time of year. We'll get some views after the fact. We usually average about the same total views throughout the week, but live's down right now. But what excuse me, I was looking for is some suggestions for some nominees for a poll that I want to put out probably like this time next week for the most valuable player on offense and defense. I'm not looking for the people who scored the most points. I'm talking about people who are the most valuable at either their position or for their contract or really are surprising.
How am I supposed to do that? Are you going to give us any time to research this?
No, that's why I'm saying in the next week, send me your nominations. We'll read the nominations, get the whittled on the list next week, and then we'll put up a poll this time next week, like what I said. And then the following week, we can reveal who is the most valuable player on offense and defense.
Well, I'll throw two out on you right now.
Well, hit me with them.
CMC.
Okay.
He proved all the haters wrong. He can run between the tackles.
Okay.
Nick Chubb.
Okay, that's a fair one. I'll take Chubb over CMC just because he was here last year and did quite well.
I mean,
these are more like surprise. My prime example would be George Kittle.
So you're saying that because CMC
did well last year.
But you said he didn't play well last year.
Yeah, I did.
He played all right.
I should say what he's doing now isn't out of what most people expected.
I think it was going into this year, the beginning of the year. Everyone was down on CMC.
Well, that's what the poll's for anyways. So we'll find out. Some names I had on the list. Barkley with a question mark. I'm not sure if you can really be most valuable or underrated or if you're the number one overall pick, but I think he should be on the list. Phillip Lindsay, undrafted free agent, top number 8 running back right now, worth being on the list. Patrick Mahomes, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Thielen. The two you had there, Devontae Adams and George Kittle.
What about Brock Osweiler? I think he surprised everybody.
No, he did not.
He had a couple weeks, didn't he?
Yep.
Exactly. That's more than what anyone else expected.
That's a fair point, but not really what I'm going for. So yeah, I think it'd be Kittle and Mahomes and Lindsay for me right now. Those would be on my top 3. Just because for what we expected from them, what their contracts were, they've vastly outperformed that. I think Kittle got like 300 and some points. Beckers in the AFC is paying him like $800,000. I think the NFC, whoever has him, is like $1.5 million or something. So, very valuable contract. Unfortunately, he's holding out, so really only valid this year. And then defense, I don't even know why we're voting on it, but Darius Leonard, Jamal Adams, and Derwin James are the names I had on there. But looking for suggestions.
I think Derwin James is probably going to be the crowd favorite.
He could be. I think they're wrong, but
because you're biased, right?
Yes.
I think Derwin James. I think everyone was low on him because of the position he was going to be playing in San Diego, and I think he's blown away everyone's expectations. Bradley Chubb. Can't forget about him. He was just posting on Twitter today.
He's not on defense, though, so we've already moved on to defense.
Bradley Chubb?
Oh, sorry. You're right. I thought you said Nick Chubb. That's fair. Let's see where he's at.
He's got like 14, or how many sacks is he? I think it's like 14.
11, I think. I think 14 would be the record.
14. Let's look.
I
can't remember what the number said.
Well, we're talking fantasy. He is at 200 points, which is a solid linebacking score, but he doesn't hold the candle to the 350 Darius Leonard's putting up. So we can just move on from there.
Sure.
Derwin James is the number 2 safety, so definitely in the conversation.
Sacks. This is not like a total. He's got 12.
12?
Suck a butt.
We're talking fantasy points here, but
I'm just saying he's got 12 sacks.
and I got one. You don't hear me bragging about it. But yes, he is doing well, especially for an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
But man, put him in that DE spot. Ooh.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, where he'd be at. I think it's scoring different for DEs. I think it is. I think it's a little bit higher.
I think it's a little higher.
So, I mean, even at his current point total, just put him in DE, he'd be DE number 13.
Yeah. It's tough to really make a case for the outside linebackers and defensive end because we have two extreme overlords that are dictating this entire league and the rules that get in place.
Care to elaborate on that?
No.
Okay. I'll continue to be confused. All right, so basically send me your nominations, either our email address or just send it to me on Slack.
Can I tell you how this is going to go?
Sure.
We're going to have this show. We're going to put just blood, sweat, and tears into this show.
Well, it's not crazy, but yeah.
And we're not going to hear from anybody.
That's fine. I'll make up a bunch of answers and say, oh my God.
That's what always happens. We ask for hashtags, nothing.
That's true.
2 weeks in a row, ask for hashtags, nothing. We asked for movie suggestions on Spencer's movie night, nothing.
We had a couple.
Couple. We got 32 owners in this league.
Do we really, though?
I don't know what happened to Washington and Tiffany, but
somebody called her out the other day, and she immediately messaged back.
Matt called me out for not watching the show yet. I apologize, Matt. That's my goal tonight. I'm going to try and play it as I'm falling asleep. Because I don't know if you heard, but your boy got an award.
I did. I watched it today.
Yeah. How do you think? You didn't even congratulate me. What the hell? Your boy got an award.
I know. You sent me your acceptance video and you spoiled it for me. I'm going to tell Matt. He knows now. Who the fuck is the ED crew? That is a fucking insult. You are banned.
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 I take away the kudos for being involved in this show, this live stream. You are dead to us.
Who runs this channel? Who's running it?
I don't know.
Who started it? The Jai?
Ooh.
Jai, if you can hear me, boot Detroit Nate out of here.
Jai, if you can hear us, give us control of the channel.
Just boot him.
Boot him.
Get him out of here.
I don't think Jai's here.
Yeah, probably not. Anyways, so yeah, that's my nominations or thoughts for some nominations.
Cool.
I don't care what you think.
No, I think it's a great idea. I like that you're bringing some fresh takes to the EG show. You're always thinking about what we can do better.
Just here to carry the show.
I'm right here with you. Travis is the one slacking.
Yeah, I said we'd be full strength today, and I lied because Travis forgot he was doing something.
Fucking Travis.
Anyways, couple mailbag questions. If you want us to jump into the mailbag, I'll take that frozen face as a yes.
I'm here.
The first mailbag question is, what is one player on each team that can ruin the team's chances of advancing to the Super Bowl? What is one player on each team that can be the biggest surprise, potentially propel, that's a tough word sequence to say, an owner into the Super Bowl? From Chicago Nick. Excellent question. As you can tell, I did not read these questions beforehand, so let me take a look.
You want to say it's almost defense just because you have that both of these are going to come from defense.
For Brad,
no, it's just
no.
I think he's just asking.
I know. Well, I was going to do one from each team.
Oh, I thought he was asking position.
One from each position? From each team? That's a lot.
Sure, never mind. Just go ahead. Take one from Brad.
I would say Von Miller.
Sure.
He hasn't had that crazy game, but he could put up 45 points. He's done it a couple times. And then the one guy who could hurt him, it's got to be Zeke. If he puts up a dud, you're going to be hurting. Do you want to take a shot at Brad?
No, I think those are pretty spot on. Yeah, I agree with those.
For Kyle, I probably wouldn't have said this before last week, but apparently Jared Goff could be a detriment to your team.
I think it's going to be Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks. Eventually make or break the team. And
then somebody that could save his team or really carry him, propel him, I guess was the word he used. We'll go Khalil Mack. He hasn't had any of those real crazy games lately.
I'm going to say Shaq Griffin.
Just coming back for it.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think Cooks could easily break his team. Easily.
All right. Moving over to Dallas Bryant. I'm going to have to give it to Zeke again, too. If he doesn't show up, makes things a whole lot tougher for him. And who could carry him? Jordan Cameron, like he carried him this week with 32 points. I don't really feel good about that one. Who could carry him? David Johnson, surprise comeback, 50 points. What a bummer he's been.
Yeah, no shit.
I forgot you have him. I bet. Yeah, what do you think about Dallas's team?
I think one person that can really break him is probably going to be Harrison Smith. They're just not using him like they should in Minnesota. And a person that could potentially go off for him would be Brandon Cooks.
For Nick, person who could propel him into victory is if Leonard Fournette just has like a rage game and just 3 touchdowns, like 120, 35 carries, just fuck whatever the quarterback is, just give Fournette the ball 35 times. And then somebody who could hurt him, if Bobby Wagner just laid an egg. He's been doing quite well. Last week was a 61-point game, which really helps. But yeah, Bobby Wagner, Bobby laid an egg that hurt.
I think Aaron Donald underperforming again could really hurt. I don't know who he's. No, I think I'm gonna switch this. Aaron Donald will be the guy who propels him forward, bounce back. I think Adam Thielen's gonna be the guy that hurts him.
Yeah, he's been down like the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's insane that
2 weeks. I guess versus the Packers, he had a 30-point game.
Peppered with targets at the beginning of the season, and then gets nothing.
Oh, nothing. He's got
nothing.
Last 4 games, 12, 9, 10, 7.
Not great.
I mean, I guess
I'm telling you, if somebody had Robert Woods, I would start Robert Woods over Adam Thielen right now. Well, if we still had the same offensive coordinator, yes. But who knows? This week's a wild card.
Wild card.
It's the Wild West.
You still got to start him, though.
Yeah, you have to. You just hope that you get one of the first week, like the first few weeks games back, because
the first 8 weeks.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I mean, I own him in a different fantasy league, and he's been hurting me the last few weeks.
Don't tell Barry that.
Sorry, Barry.
All right. That was our first mailbag question. Our next one from D. Jordan. First off, thanks for the three of you for holding it down through the IFL season. You're welcome. Look forward to watching your show live on Thursday. We're on playback. Probably didn't need to read this part, but we're already there. Looking into the future, name two teams in the AFC and NFC that have a bright future or troubling futures via cap, assets, etc. Postseason planning starts now, except for the Final Four. Looking forward to see you guys in Vegas. Have a good night. D. Jordan. So this one I did take a look at before we started. Didn't look for everybody, but I'll name my first one. Mark might be in trouble. Did the math, crunched some numbers. If Adams holds out and he does retain him, Mark will be going into next year with like $155 million on the cap for like 18 players. And that would put him, I did the math here, I still have it pulled up. The remaining 26 players, he could only pay them an average of $1.1 million, which would put him into a similar position that he was this year, where we had like a really top-heavy, talented team, and then no hashtag team depth behind that.
So this is your announcement to the rest of the AFC. Do not bail him out. Unless he's paying you an arm and a leg, don't bail him out.
But, I mean, for him to even be bailed out, he would have to give up one of his three big linebackers, which I'm sure he could convince somebody that Alec Ogletree is worth $13 million, or Zach Brown is worth $17, or Eric Kendricks is worth $14. Some of those aren't terrible. The Zach Brown one's a little rough. And then Todd Gurley, do you think he'd give him up?
No.
If it did, it'd take like 3 firsts. And I think the only person who has 3 firsts
We're looking at him.
Well, and Eric actually has 3 firsts.
Oh, Eric might fall for that trap then. Eric doesn't listen to the show, so I can say whatever I want.
Can't really warn him. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see what he does. I'm not saying he's in trouble, but he'll be in a pickle if he doesn't pay Adams. So,
trying to think of. I had a pick for the AFC for someone who might be in trouble. This might be surprising. I just want to check his cap again.
Just gonna pick people who are in trouble. Just being negative as shit.
I mean, he's got a fair amount of cap. He's got a $39 million, which AFC isn't great. It's not terrible. I think I'm gonna have to go with Danny.
Ooh, not who I thought you were gonna go with.
I think losing Emmanuel Sanders to ACL really hurts. AJ Green, I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, the offense is going to be looking bleak because he's losing Jared Cook this year. He's going to lose Kenny Stills. I guess he loses Emmanuel Sanders, so never mind. That doesn't really impact him that much. Doug Martin, Cole Beasley. So he's going to have a pretty thin offense. But having Tyreek and AJ Green, I guess it really depends on if AJ Green or what's going on. But I think beyond that, he doesn't have much going on offensive wise.
Yeah.
And then you look at the rest of his team. I mean, we all knew his defense was the weak point, and he's not going to have much salary to really kind of try and improve that. He's going to have some, but these top guys are going to get bid up by the rest of the AFC, so he's going to have to hope that he finds that gem. So my pick is Danny. I don't want it to be Danny, but my pick.
Yeah. I was torn. I was going to go one person, but I felt like we beat him in the ground enough. So I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to go with Matt.
For your up and coming?
No. So Matt has no picks next year, no first in 2020, and only a second and third. Second and third in 2020 are the only picks he has for the next 2 years currently. He has how much tied up in Gronk? 21 million in Gronk next year and 24 the following year. He's got.
Wait, so you picked two people that are down?
Yep.
What?
I told you I'm being negative. He said pick up or down.
Sure.
He's got Golden Taint next year being 11 million. Jimmy Graham being 13 million. These are just some. I mean, these guys can come back, but those are some tough contracts to justify. And Latavius Murray for 5 million for some reason. I heard there's some rumors that he's going to franchise tag Tom Brady, which would be like a $18 million Tom Brady. And he's got that Jay Ajayi guy chilling for 16 million next year. He'll have like 40, 45 million, but no picks, some tough contracts to unload from. I don't know what his plans are. I'm not burying the guy yet, but that's tough. And I guess most of his cornerbacks are gone next year, but man, these teams with like 7 cornerbacks, what the fuck? Why?
I don't know.
Danny does the same thing too. I have two cornerbacks on my roster. So the number 3 and number 5 cornerbacks. Just pick them up as they come. Both of them are waiver wire pickups. Didn't give me anywhere, but anyways.
I think my team, I'm gonna be positive, right? I'm gonna pick an up and coming team. And I think I'm gonna go with Decker. The problem Decker's gonna have is cutting some of these players that he's got.
Does he have a ton of players?
He's got so many. He's got such a big IR list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 guys on IR.
Oh, shit.
And 52 rostered at the moment. I think he's got some pieces that if they just continue to develop, I think he could finally show up to the West.
One other thing is he's going to be fucking dangerous in free agency. He has 75 million currently, but the cap's going to go about at least 10 million. So he'll have $85 million, and he'll have like 0 spots he needs to fill. So he could just go buy somebody for like 85 fucking million if he wants to.
There we go.
Oh boy, I think we found the person Mark's going to trick into giving him the franchise for Todd Gurley.
Oh yeah. And
Decker, don't do it.
Decker was the one who gave Todd Gurley to Mark.
Was he?
Yep. So I like Decker. That's going to be my pick for up and coming for AFC.
Yeah, he's got some good young guys in here.
I mean, that's his MO, right? Who did I have? I had someone. Did you have anyone lined up to be your negative of the NFC yet?
I have potentially a positive. I'm just double checking a couple things. I'm going to go for it. This person, a little bit of a surprise for a positive, for me at least. But he's got some players who are performing very well, and I like his draft picks for next year. He's got Quan under contract for fairly reasonable next year. He's got Rashad Evans, obviously drafted last year. Reggie Ragland's playing okay at a really good contract. Roquan doing his thing, I guess. And then some pieces on offense. He's got Devonta Adams that he might have to pay up, which he probably should. And then he should probably franchise tag Antonio Brown because he's got the cap space. And then he's got Kerryon Johnson. Paying way too much money to Derek Carr, but I guess that's besides the point. And to top that off, he has 4 first-round picks.
What are we talking about here?
I figured I would have given it away by now.
I don't know the NFC that well.
It'd be Los Angeles Rams, Andrew.
Dang.
It was a tough call, but he's got the opportunity to build a fairly decent team here and be fairly competitive next year. 2020, he loses some of his guys, so it'll be a little bit tougher. But with that, hopefully that volume of picks, he can find somebody decent.
You're getting the chat room riled up with your Andy pick.
What can I say, man? He's got 4 first round, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. Where does picks go? Yeah, he's got a decent cash pick. That's assuming he can draft the right people. But he's got Jimmy on IR. Yeah, he's got some decent options.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you go, then I got to find my last guy.
I think I'll go with my down person of the year. And I'm going to probably the person probably will never hear it. But I'm going to go with Tiffany. I think she's lacking a lot in terms of any firepower on offense. I mean, she got a couple guys, but I don't know if Isaiah Crowell will be the man next year. So basically, she's down to Hopkins and Cooper, and Doug Baldwin maybe if he comes back. Her defense is all right, but I think just seeing how she drafted this year, you got to hope that she can turn that around. Otherwise, I think she's just going to continue to slide. So she's going to be my downfall of the NFC.
Oh, I'm having trouble picking this last one.
No, I don't know the NFC. This is why we never do any NFC stuff because we don't know them well enough. I'll take it. I'm gonna pick my team that has a bright future. He's a guy who's near and dear to all of our hearts. Carolina Nils.
I was looking at him.
I think he's got a lot of nice looking pieces that I think will continue to grow on offense. Defense is there. He just needs a couple guys to kind of just take the next step over. He's doing it right in the cornerbacks. He's only got 2 cornerbacks, so that's already a plus in my book. So I look for Nils to be the up and coming.
I don't know how I could have missed this one. My down team for next year, San Francisco 49ers. There's no real bad contracts or anything like that, but
yeah,
man,
away from that one.
It's no first round pick. He's got most of his other picks. He's got 2 in 2020 for what it's worth. But man, he has an astounding 3 players returning on defense next year. Oh, sorry. 5 players returning on defense next year. Which is probably a good thing because his defense was terrible, but it's going to be quite the rebuilding process. He has Odell Beckham on a very high contract, $36 million next year, but hey, when you're not paying anybody else, you might as well. And then he's got Marcus Mariota for $13 million, and he could franchise tag Jarvis Landry if he wanted. But I mean, outside of that, he's got the likes of a bunch of people on IR who are on his active roster, like Andy Dalton, CJ Procise, Albert Wilson, who he started once, I think, or Kareem Grant.
I think CJ Prosise is relatively new. I don't remember. He's on my team, and I don't think he's on my IR.
Wilson or Grant, one of those two has been on IR for a while, even the fact that he started him. Then Johnny Smith. So, yeah, even if, I think he's got like 18 returning players next year. Again, a lot of cap, but he's pretty much starting from scratch. Yeah. He's got Fat Rob on his contract still. Whew, nice. At least he doesn't really have any bad contracts. Besides, I guess Mariota for $13 million is kind of tough. But that's more of a question mark future because he doesn't really have much of a team left next year.
No,
he's pretty much got Mariota and Odell Beckham.
You got Tajay Sharp though.
That's true. That's probably why he doesn't have a pick this year, is because he gave picks for Tajay Sharp. Yeah. He's got Terrell Pryor locked up next year. Dante Moncrief locked up next year. Some very deep running backs like Mark Walton and Ito Smith locked up.
Ito's about to be free next year.
What do you mean?
Coleman's leaving.
I heard there's rumors that they want to sign them both. Keep the tandem alive.
I've heard that too, but free teaming or free Coleman.
Free teaming.
Free teaming. Free Coleman. That's what team I am. Free Coleman. He's too good. You can't.
He's had the backfield to himself this year. Is it going good?
Are the Falcons going good?
No.
Exactly.
Oh, I guess one thing I did forget on Josh's team is he does have Rashad Penny, who is coming in the corner.
Future.
Well,
all right.
So that was our last mailbag question. Anything you want to cover? We have a couple minutes left here. Oh, we did get one other question that probably nobody cares about from Kyle about the NDSU-SDSU game. I hope SDSU wins, that being South Dakota State University.
Let's go South Dakota State. Let's go Jackrabbits. Last year, didn't we play them in the playoffs last year and lose them?
I think so. We're really the only two teams in our division in most sports.
I mean, I think didn't NDSU's coach just get hired by Kansas State this year?
I know they lost one a couple of years ago when they went on that.
Yeah, he went to Wyoming.
Yep.
And I think NDSU's current coach just got hired by NC State, or not NC State, but Kansas State. So I guess it depends if he's there or not. If he's not there, I would say the advantage goes to the Jackrabbits. If he's there, I might have the edge given to NDSU.
Yeah.
But I want it. I want SDSU to win.
Yep. Well, since we started this 30-second breakdown, we've lost 2 viewers, so I think that's
all right. Well, then I'm going to save this conversation for next time, but I'm going to put it in everyone's ear.
What's that? We still have 4. We were up to 6 or 7 at one point. So
we only have 5 minutes left in the show.
We're bringing in regular season numbers now.
Oh, whew. I would like to address this idea of the injured reserve. If you look at people's teams right now, clearly this is being abused.
Also, one other caveat, we can't fix it right now because our rosters are locked at the end of the regular season.
Ours are, or some are, yeah. But playoff teams, it's not. But I think it is worth noting that, to my knowledge, if a player comes back from IR, you can't just leave them on IR. You can't just be like, no. Just go back down there. I guess we saw it with Aaron Rodgers last year. He should have gone to the Browns, but that was a rule violation. But I think it might be worth looking into, especially because I think Nick has Dixon is what drew my attention to this. Andy, fuck off. I'm not talking to you. Fuck off, Andy. I think that you shouldn't be allowed to leave them on your IR.
So you're saying So to try to translate,
Yeah.
the player goes on to IR with designation to return, and we in the fantasy world put them on IR. When they come back in the NFL, you're saying that we should have to activate them.
Yes.
Okay. Just being clear.
I think you should. I mean, if we have to put that into the rule book, saying you have to either designate them to return, like the NFL does, or if it's a season ending, it's season ending and they're done, then you put them out for the year. But make the distinction so we don't have guys just sitting on your IR.
So let me ask you this: like, for example, last year. I'm not sure what the rule was, but I was concerned with that because
Andy, stop fucking typing. You're done.
I had David Johnson, $47 million, I think, last year on IR. So I put him on IR. Obviously, made a bunch of moves, trades, and whatnot to try to keep my roster competitive. Granted, he did not come back, but what if he did come back? And I suddenly had to make room for $47 million. How would you, or would you propose that I just throw in the towel since I have to keep that cap space open?
So you're explain to me again. Sorry, I was dealing with an idiot on Slack.
You could just not look at Slack.
I can't spell butt right.
So last year, David Johnson went down week 1.
Sure.
Put him on IR. There was talks of him possibly coming back, but I had put him on my IR. He was $47 million. Obviously, I cleared up a bunch of cap space, made some trades, filled that cap space with players. And then, to say he comes back week 9 or 10 or whatever it was, what would you propose I do then?
You dug your grave.
So you're saying I have to just drop a bunch of players and activate David Johnson?
Yeah. What? So you're saying... I could be wrong as well. I'm not sure, but if an NFL team is paying a player and he's on IR, designated return, they picked up other players, he returns. What does that team do?
Well, the difference in the NFL, they still pay him his salary. They would have to make a roster spot for him, but not his salary. His salary doesn't change.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't like it. I don't have a good suggestion yet. I just realized this tonight.
Okay.
I don't have a good suggestion.
Well, so the alternative would be if I had to assume he's coming back, then I basically would have my season would have been over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Instead of trying to make trades and keep fighting while a player was on IR.
You make trades, but just be ready to put him back on your roster.
Okay. I think I guess I'd be interested to see what people think. Because that particular situation right there would have been a prime example had David Johnson come back like week 10 or 12 like they were thinking.
So David Johnson was already factored in. Well, granted, it was a rookie for the NFL, but so what factored into the salary is what you're saying?
Yeah, I believe when the NFL puts a player on IR, it does not affect their salary cap.
So then they just have to figure out a roster spot.
So that's when you see when people come back from IR, they will cut a player or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the idea of that if a player gets IR, you can just leave him down there and nothing happens.
I mean, the NFL can do that.
Sure, if you want them to not play on your team for the year.
Well, isn't that what they did with Rodgers last year?
No, because he came back for a few weeks.
Did he come back?
Yeah, and then they threw him down, which was a blatant rule violation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was brought up multiple times, but because he's the golden child of the NFL with Tom Brady, he doesn't go.
I'm not disagreeing.
But I don't know. I'm not saying that we need to fix it. I'm just saying I don't like sitting here looking at people and having you guys bitch and moan about injuries all the time. But yet the major cop-out would be that you can just leave them on IR for the season.
I think that's probably what we're going to end up doing, but I would say if you designate them to IR, you cannot bring them back up.
Okay, yeah. So maybe this would be the deal. You have two designations. You can either designate them; they're done for the year, so you leave them on IR, but they are done for your team.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can designate them to return, and then you would have to prep for that return. You'd have to consider that. So, like, say you said, "Well, I'm going to designate David Johnson to return. So then you have to consciously be aware that not only do I have to create a roster spot for him, but I also have to have that cap for him.
I think that's fair. I think it's going to be tough to track, but I think it's probably the best option.
I mean, then it gives you two solutions. So one, you're an actual GM here. You're going to say that player's done. They're not coming back on my fantasy team for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Or they are. I would like them to. I don't know when. And you're gambling whether or not they come back in the NFL or not. You're taking that gamble, but then you also have to prepare to make that roster move, that salary cap.
But just to play devil's advocate, would you just keep them on your active roster then, since you have to account for that salary?
Would you? Ooh.
Instead of why deactivate them? Because if you're going to have to account for that salary in that roster spot.
If you're going to, I mean, yes, I see your point, but then maybe you don't make as big of trades, or that you deal cap somewhere else. That way you have wiggle room that you can drop a couple players, cut them, or demote them to the practice squad,
mm-hmm.
and make room for that cap.
And one other thing is, I think if you're going to do this, you need to designate them when you put them on IR.
Yeah.
So you can't like put them on IR then be like, oh shit, they're actually going to come back. No, they're designating them to return.
No, and I think that puts more power into the hands of the GM and saying it's my call whether I'm bringing them back or not. So they could come back in real life, but if you designated them as non-return, so be it.
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's something worth discussing.
I think there's a channel for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to post it.
All right. Well, we're just over an hour, and people will start rioting if we go too far over. So that will be our show. We'll be back next week to preview the Super Bowl.
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
Get your nominations in for most valuable player, not the player with the most points. That's a pretty easy award to just look at the numbers. But anything else?
Nope.
Sing us out.
Da-na-na, da-na-na.